every story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
A very good evening to you and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Nenna Oragwa. And our top stories tonight. First story. President Muhammadu Buhari has finally signed the 2016 budget into law. The brief signing ceremony was attended by the President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, as well as all the top government functionaries at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The Minister of Science and Technology, Munaya Onwez, assured the President Muhammadu Buhari is desirous of stopping all forms of food importation into the country. Onu made this known in Bayelsa State when he paid a familiarization visit to the Biotechnology and Resource Development Center, Biodec, in OD. He discloses that the President strongly believes that Nigeria has the capacity to attain self-sufficiency in food production. The minister further maintained that the one legacy President Muhammadu Buhari would want to be remembered for is to ensure that Nigeria produces enough food resources to feed herself without depending on other nations for food security. When will the issue of flight delays and sometimes total cancellation be addressed in the country? This, among others, is the question on the mind of every Nigerian air traveler who is not always sure of his or her time of arrival or departure traveling through airports in Nigeria. A motion on flight delays is being addressed as members of the House of Representatives are again warning operators to sit up. Our correspondent, Emmanuel Ehijene, tells us more in this report.
The incessant delay and sometimes total cancellation of flights of most of our airlines has been attracting condemnation from Nigeria across all spectrum of the society. This time from the House of Representatives, and the motion is sponsored by Honorable Rotimi Agunsoye, representing Kushofe Federal Constituency of Lagos State. He observed that this has caused stress and frustration on passengers.
There has been frequent complaints by the public and airline passengers throughout the country about the rampant trend by local airline flight operators and their unsavory customer relations, delays and cancellations without reasonable grounds.
Most Nigerian air travelers are seeing their flights delayed or cancelled outrightly at the slightest excuses by the airline without proper explanation, forcing them to seek alternative means to get to their destination and sometimes abandonment of their journey. This is in the view of other lawmakers.
There's a global practice that whenever there's a hitch in the airport, either as regard to a cancellation of flight or as regard to a delayed flight, certain concessions are usually given to the passengers.
This motion is coming timely, most especially when I was just a victim of one just last weekend. I was delayed in New York for 5.5 hours without any correspondent talk from the airline.
There's something innate about Nigeria that is not in other countries. I had to weigh the issues. If we penalize and come down hard on the airlines, which we should, what if these airlines begin to cut corners?
But other lawmakers advise that in taking punitive action to correct or chastise the airline. Adequate care must be taken not to box the airline, cutting corners in their operation that may prove more disastrous to the country. Lawmakers are calling on the House to pass the proper legislation to compel these airlines to pay adequate compensation to passengers anytime such delay or cancellation occurs, and at the same time calling on the relevant authorities like France to look into the matter. The motion is referred to Committee on Aviation for further legislative input.
Operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, today laid siege to the home of former Minister of Aviation, Femi Fani-Kayode, for about 8 hours. According to the embattled former minister, although his lawyers came to speak on his behalf, the operatives did not leave until at about 7 p.m. Fani-Kayode, in a telephone conversation with CoreTV News, says he had intended to honor the invitation of the EFCC to appear before it on Monday, May 9 at 10 a.m. Former Minister discloses that though the EFCC officials had vacated the premises, his fate hangs on the balance as to whether he will play host to the commission before the day he is due to appear for questioning. So we recall that the EFCC had in a letter sent to Fani-Kayode's Abuja residence demanded his presence in the Abuja office by 10 a.m. on Monday, May 9, 2016. To explain his role in the presidential campaign funds for the People's Democratic Party, PDP, during the 2015 presidential elections. China will partner with Nigeria to ensure the success of the nation's war on corruption and to also help the nation in developing its infrastructure and agri sector. Outgoing Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Gu Xiaojie, who was on a courtesy visit to the national headquarters of the All Progressive Congress, added that the Chinese Communist Party is ready to share experience with the nation's ruling party. Our correspondent, Kazim Kasali, brings us the details in this report. We bring you details of this report in our subsequent bulletins. Moving on, the United States administration is seeking approval for the sale of 12 A-29 Super Tucano light attack aircraft to Nigeria to aid its battle against the extremist group Boko Haram. An official of the administration made us known on condition of anonymity to discuss the administration's plans and a vote of confidence in President Muhammadu Buhari's drive to reform the country's corruption-tainted military. The possible sale, which the officials say was favored within the U.S. administration but is subject to review by Congress, and is caused of deepening U.S. involvement in helping governments in the North and West Africa fight extremist groups. The widening U.S. military cooperation is a political victory for President Buhari, who took office in 2015, pledging to crack down on the rampant corruption that has undermined the armed forces in Africa's most populous country. Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano has convened a joint meeting with representatives of the Hausa Fulani community, traditional rulers of communities where major grazing activities take place, and members of the Fulani Farmers Cattle Menace Committee. Addressing the meeting at the Governor's Lodge, Amobia, Governor Obiano said the meeting is in response to the increasing clashes between Fulani herdsmen and their host communities in several other states. He discloses that this is to draw a roadmap towards preventing violent clashes erupting in the state and to ensure enforcement of the resolutions reached earlier between the Fulani Farmers Cattle Menace Committee, which is set up in 2015. The governor emphasizes that on no account should herdsmen carry guns and sophisticated weapons, assuring them of their safety and protection at all times. Niger Delta militants have attacked a Chevron platform in the Niger Delta region. Chevron Nigeria Limited, confirming this, says its Alcan offshore facility has been shot following the attack. It also discloses that it is assessing the situation while resources have been deployed to respond to the resulting spill. Nigerian Navy spokesperson Commodore Chris Ezekobe, who also confirmed the incident, said the attack occurred about 40 nautical miles from the Escravos terminal around Warri in Delta State. A group known as the Niger Delta Avengers has claimed responsibility for the attack. So we recall that the same group carried out an attack on the Shell oil pipeline in February, which shut down the 250,000 barrel a day for Cado's export terminal. Meanwhile, the special advisor to the president in Niger Delta and coordinator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, PAP, Brigadier General Paul Burrow, has condemned the recent attack on oil and gas pipelines in the Niger Delta by some misguided elements. The PAP coordinator, who spoke to journalists in Abuja against the backdrop of the recent attack on the Chevron Abiteye pipeline in Delta State, says the act is condemnable as it poses grave danger not only to the region but also to the Nigerian economy. Burrow warned the masterminds of the dire consequences of their nefarious actions, describing them as economic and environmental saboteurs. The Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, has uncovered the diversion of 50,000 liters of fuel to a petrol station along Bender Road, Umuahia. The Zonal Operation Controller, Maurice Nwokedi, discloses that although the dealer feigned ignorance, the thorough investigation carried out by officials of the DPR and DSS reveals otherwise. He discloses that the penalty for such crime entails withdrawal of license and payment of 200 naira per litre to the federal government, among many other punitive measures. Nwokedi maintained that the DPR would not relent in their efforts to ensure adequate surveillance and monitoring of the spread of PMS around the country. You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take a break now. We'll return with more stories. To stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DJ360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Glad to have you back. You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. A quick recap of our top stories. For these top stories and more of our news stories and information, join us on the social media platforms, facebook.com/CoreTV News, on Twitter at CoreTV News NG, and on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV Live Space News. The Nigerian Army is inaugurating a 4-man special court-martial for the trial of 2 Major Generals, Patrick Falola and Major Ibrahim Sani. Although details of their offences have not been made public, they said to have gone against certain standing rule in the military. President of the court says the case will be dispensed as soon as possible. Our correspondent, Kikela Mokeri, has details of the story.
The judge advocates administering the oath on the president of the special court-martial alongside with 3 other members in accordance with the provision of the Armed Forces Act. With this over, the convening order for the court-martial by the Chief of Army Staff was read by the president of the special court-martial.
Section 131, subsection D of the Armed Forces Act, Cap 820 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, I, Lieutenant General T.Y. Buratai.
The lead prosecuting counsel, who appeared with 5 other counsel, disclosed that the special court-martial will rely on 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, the Armed Forces Act, the Evidence Act, military law, and rules of procedure.
We want to, due respect, observe the language used by my legal colleague on the other side against the prosecution team. My legal colleague, Inspector of Justice.
The president, in his valedictory speech, assures on speedy dispensation of justice, pointing out that justice delayed is justice denied.
To assure all concerned that it would abide strictly with those laws in achieving its aims of doing justice.
The prosecuting counsel also prayed for the trial to commence on Monday, 9th of May 2016, which was unopposed by the defense counsel and was granted by the court. Kikelomo Ukiri, CoreTV News, Abuja.
In another development, the Nigerian Army is developing an actionable framework to reposition the command secondary school for greater performance. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukubu Retired, reeled this out at a seminar on repositioning Nigerian Army command schools for quality education in the 21st century. He says education is geared towards developing an individual to build his capacity and contribute to societal advancement and upliftment. Our correspondent, Kikelomo Okere, has details of the story.
Education is the key to achieving qualitative development meaningful to oneself and the society in all spheres. Chief of Army Staff says relationship between education and national security lie in the provision of quality education, which will empower you to contribute to national development.
Also, the best facilities for the teachers to impart the right knowledge and attitude to the students and the pupils.
The seminar is aimed at working out modalities in a bid to enhance educational security in Nigerian Army Command schools, thereby helping to contribute to national security. Based on this, provision of quality education in any organization is thus a panacea for solving national security challenges and positive contribution to national development. Kikelomo Okere, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Away from that, we now move on to Kaduna State, where Governor Malam Nasir El-Rufai has signed the first set of digital certificates of occupancy produced by the State New Electronic Land Registry. This follows the creation of the Kaduna Geographic Information Service, an agency backed by legislation. The Albino Foundation of Nigeria Kaduna State chapters commended the United Nations for setting aside a day to celebrate albinos worldwide. The call was made by the chairman, Kaduna State chapter of the Albino Foundation of Nigeria, Abubakar Adams, at the state capital. Kaduna State correspondent tells us more in this report.
Addressing journalists as part of activities to mark the 2016 International Albinos Day, the chairman, Kaduna State chapter of the Albinos Foundation of Nigeria, has called on the federal government to create laws that will protect the fundamental human rights of people living with albinism. It urges well-meaning Nigerians to join forces with government in making treatment of people living with albinism free across the country.
These lotions are very costly, and most of the albinos in Nigeria are very poor. So we are calling on high-spirited individuals, governments, and other agencies that they should please come out and help these vulnerable people.
The chairman, Albinos Foundation of Nigeria Kaduna State chapter, says the foundation recognizes the importance of increasing awareness and understanding of albinism to fight against global discrimination and stigma against persons with albinism in the country. Abubakar further called on the federal government to provide jobs for albinos and also urge parents to send their albino children to school. The albinos, who walked through major streets to create public awareness about the need to protect their rights, decry the continued discrimination against people living with albinism.
We have challenged with the sun rays, and most times that makes the albino person prone to skin diseases like cancer.
For Vivian Uboka, a female albino patient, being an albino will not stop her from achieving a dream in life.
I've seen many albinos getting married. Both the men and the women are getting married. So I don't think that their skin color or any other thing can prevent or can be a hindrance from being married.
The International Albinism Awareness Day is celebrated globally to remind governments and the public on the need to end discrimination against albinism. June 13th every year is set aside by the UN as Global Albinism Awareness Day to create both national and global awareness on the human rights of persons with albinism.
Away from Kaduna State, we now move on to Plateau State, where the government has set up a Peace and Conflict Resolution Bureau. The Bureau has the mandate of providing a policy framework for resolving conflicts and preventing future occurrences. The conflict in Plateau State have filed every solution since 2001 when it broke out in Jos North local government area and spread across the state. Now the relative peace is returned, stakeholders say the Peace and Conflict Resolution Bureau could help in ensuring lasting peace. Our correspondent has more in this report.
The civil society organizations working towards the attainment of peace in Plateau State had approached the administration requesting a policy framework from the government to guide their activities. Though they commend the government for setting up a Peace and Conflict Bureau in the state, they, however, urge them to remain committed to the maintenance of peace.
You all know that civil society and in particular non-state actors have largely been contributing to sustenance of peace on the plateau. And there is no way this can be sustainable without a policy framework to support our work.
The Director General of the Bureau has promised to carry everyone along in ensuring lasting peace in Plateau State, adding that one of the core mandates of the agency is to ensure that the state does not fall back again to a ceaseless outbreak of violence as witnessed in the past.
We'll do everything humanly possible to deliver on this mandate and to also ensure possibly that other states in the not too distant future are able to replicate or learn from our own model, because the issues of violence and peace and security is topical across Nigeria.
The violent clashes witnessed in Plateau State in the last 15 years has begun to subside, and it is the hope of residents that those in authority would ensure a more lasting peace for all in the state.
Still on Plateau State, in view of the current economic realities in Nigeria, residents of the state have adopted a new consumer behavior. The consumers now ask for more to be added to the original quantity of items purchased. A visit by our correspondent to the Jos main market reveals the views and opinions of these consumers.
Any, Fisi, Yara or Jara, which customers often demand from sellers, has become the major factor which endears Plateau residents to traders, unlike in the developed countries where goods are mostly packaged and given fixed price tags. This development has compelled most traders to give out Jara or extra portions willingly, even before the buyers ask for it. The question remains, why do most people habitually ask for Jara after making a purchase?
Human needs, you always want more, no matter what you have bought. No matter, even a rich man, even when you buy something, you still want more to be added to what you have. A rich man has money already, but he's still looking for more money.
In quick understanding of the consumer's behavior in the state, the traders have made it a policy to always give out Jara because the gesture, according to them, ensures that the customer would return the next time. Traders at Jos Terminus Markets narrates the strategies they have adopted and how they view the Jara concept.
You know, some people, if we don't give Jara for them, they won't buy. This Jara is important to them.
Bring 100 naira on. Yes, bring Jara. I put Jara because I'm entertaining customer because of this time. When customer buys something for you, you didn't give him Jara, it will not be satisfied.
Due to the religious mindset of the state, it is generally believed that every time you give away willingly, you stand a chance of receiving more in return, which could lead to business boost. But how do the traders manage the situation in order not to sell at a loss?
I can, because this thing, even I buy it like cabbage, if I buy it 100 naira, okay, you understand that? Okay. If I buy 100 naira, I'll put 20 naira on top. You know, say I can't do that.
You can, because without giving that Jara, you have already lost that person. Tomorrow you not like to come to you again. Ladies now, not market. Market is black and white. Ladies now, sometimes you can take black, sometimes you can play white.
From whichever perspective one looks at the upsurge in the Jara concept in Plateau State, it is a win-win situation as the buyers go home not feeling shortchanged, while the trader ends up raising the number of his or her regular customers. In the face of the poor economic situation, only those who understand their customers' behavior and quickly adapt to it will remain in business.
The United Nations has promised to support the federal government in the development and security of the Niger Delta region. The incoming United Nations resident humanitarian coordinator and resident representative to Nigeria, Fatima Samora, disclosed this today during a meeting with the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs in Abuja. She said the United Nations will continue its collaboration with the federal government to ensure development and security of the region. Meanwhile, the minister, Usani, has revealed how the federal government is at the verge of creating a trust fund for the development of the region. 100 young Nigerians have been selected for entrepreneurship and leadership training in the 2016 Mandela Washington Fellowship, the United States. United States Ambassador to Nigeria James Entwistle stated this in Abuja during a reception organized by the U.S. Embassy for the participants who were shortlisted from 6 geopolitical zones in the country and the Federal Capital Territory. Entwistle says the participants will participate in an intensive 6 weeks program on academic excellence and leadership in business and entrepreneurship, civil leadership, public management, and renewable energy at the United States colleges and universities. The Mandela Washington Fellowship is a flagship program of the President's Young African Leaders Initiative and a key component of President Barack Obama's commitment to invest in the future of Africa. The White House developed this initiative in recognition of the critical and increasing role the young Africans are playing in strengthening democratic institutions, spurring economic growth, and enhancing peace and security in Africa. The Global Fund to Fight AIDS, Tuberculosis, and Malaria suspended payments to Nigeria's AIDS agency over evidence that $3.8 million was stolen by its workers and consultants. Fund spokesman Seth Faison says Nigeria's government has expressed willingness to refund the money and to prosecute suspects. Reports by the Fund's Inspector General reveals 7 government workers and 3 information technology consultants embezzled the money over 5 years between 2010 and 2014. Adding that the fraud continued because National Agency for the Control of AIDS did not carry out proper audits. According to the reports, the amount stolen is 95% of the amount budgeted to implement, administer, and train users of a web-based reporting platform, but a fraction of the $1.4 billion fund has been spent fighting AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis in Nigeria. Nigeria has the highest number of people infected with AIDS, second world's highest after South Africa. It reports that 1/3 of all deaths from malaria in Africa and is among top 22 countries with the most TB patients. The production and manufacturing subsector is gradually becoming a beehive of business activities as more macro, small and medium enterprises in partnership with relevant agencies begin to tap into the abundant opportunities available in the non-oil sector. After all, the resounding word as far as Nigeria's economy is concerned, especially in recent times, is diversification. At MSME fair in Lagos, entrepreneurs say the way to go is to promote export of indigenous goods. Our correspondent, Akin Obake, has more in his reports.
Several products all on display for both local and international markets. Gradually, the manufacturing sector is beginning to gather momentum to produce exportable products, and with support from agencies like the Nigerian Export Promotion Council and the Bank of Industry, they are fast exploring the opportunities in the non-oil items. Participants at an MSME fair in Lagos believe that Nigeria is on the path to realizing its lost glory.
All the years we've been focused on oil. It's now time for us to now look inward and see other areas we can diversify our economy base so that we can end the much needed foreign exchange, create wealth, create employment.
What we advocate is for Nigeria to set up businesses in Nigeria and produce for our local economy, and they can also produce for the export markets. We do not want to encourage people to produce outside. When you produce outside, you're creating jobs for them, and of course, we don't have enough foreign exchange.
They also expressed satisfaction at the economic policy direction of the federal government and the potentials that export holds for the country.
We work in with zero with IT. They have helped in terms of having good recipe that you find that the quality of the product now can meet any standard all over the world. That the product we are offering is okay, it can match any global products all over.
If people outside can see that Nigerians can produce standardized goods, I think it will boost the image of the country. In regards exports, I think it also will bring a lot of foreign exchange into the economy.
We have to go extra mile to put in a lot in the packaging for it to be accepted both locally and internationally.
The cost of production is low, the raw material is locally sourced. When we compare the cost of producing this one and the retail price to other imported product, this has a lot of advantage.
Industry watchers hope that an eventual stable oil price in the nearest future will not adversely affect the support that non-oil businesses are currently enjoying. Akin Obakeye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Wife of the President, Aisha Buhari's man, the Oba of Benin, Omonoba Polokpolo Eredowa, the while in Sokoto Ambassador Hamzat Ahmad, as well as the 7 secondary school students and others who recently died in a motor accident along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The condolence messages were contained in 2 separate statements made available to journalists in Abuja by her media assistant, Jamilu Yusuf. The president's wife described the death of Eredowa and Ahmad as monumental loss to the nation. She said the 2 men would not easily be forgotten in the history of the country due to their immense contributions in ensuring peace and unity. The president's wife urged Nigerians to emulate the deceased commitment to national unity and other good legacies they left behind. Friends and associates are thronging the Festac residence of late Ademola Adeniji Adele, who passed away on Thursday, just as Lagos State government continues to mourn the demise of the former Commissioner for Sports and first Chairman of Lagos Island Council, now Lagos Island Local Government Area. Sympathizers take turn to sign the condolence register while also commiserating with the widow and children. Our correspondent, Emmanuel Ajayi, visited Adeniji Adele family and has more in this report.
Ademola Adeniji Adele, former Lagos State Sports Commissioner, who served between 2007 and 2011, died on Thursday, 5th of May 2016, at the age of 60 in India, where he had gone for medical checkup. Before his death, he was a pro-democracy campaigner who stood for others against the military regime of late head of state, Sani Abacha. The news of his death has since eroded outpour of emotions and visits of friends and families associated to his residence at Festac Town in Lagos.
As far as I'm concerned, he's not just a legend, he's a leader. He's a leader in Nigeria. In fact, I personally, reckon with him as one of the great, Yoruba leaders we have.
He's one of our leaders in this environment. Though we don't belong to the same party, but he's a problem solver. If you have any challenges, regardless of where you belong to, if you have an opportunity to meet him, he will go all the way to help you, even if it's in another party.
The brother is a very nice person. I can say one day, he doesn't keep malice against anybody.
The former commissioner took Lagos grassroots politics by storm in the early 90s when he became chairman of Lagos Island Council. His administration recorded a lot of monumental achievements, which has made him a model administrator.
He was a unique individual in many ways. He is an achiever from his youth. He has lived to a relatively ripe old age, although there are other people. We have brothers who are still older. But the level of achievement he has packed into that few years he has spent is what we are celebrating today, not his death, really.
Foremost, it's my father, and not just my father, he's father of so many people, not by blood, not by religion, not by culture or tribe or where you're from. He doesn't discriminate.
He has lived a good life. The man is a very good man. He has opened his arm to everybody, not only Lagosians, but Nigerians in general. He fought for Lagosians. He fought till the last breath. Even while he was in India, while I was talking to him, he was still fighting and talking about Lagosians.
Adeniji Adele no doubt left indelible mark in the hearts of dear ones. Death is inevitable. When it beckons, it captures the rich and the poor. At the residence of Ademola Adeniji Adele, we say, may his gentle soul rest in peace. Emmanuel Ajayi, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Still ahead on the foreign scene, Pope Francis seeks support for migrants. Bring you details of this and more after this break. So stay with us.
With over 7 billion of world population and still counting, the world needs to hear you now than ever. Whatever your ministry or vision is, Gospel Africa will help get you there faster than you think possible. For inquiries and participation, contact 009 503 3859 or 0812-076-0011 or visit www.gospelafricang.com. Gospel Africa, your #1 media solutions for the church today. Gospel Africa, showing on this station at this time. CoreTV News now live on all Androids.
Welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
Download CoreTV News app from your Play Store. Click on the menu to see all our top stories from politics, sports, business, foreign news and live TV to watch us live on your mobile.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
You can also click on video to see all our YouTube videos. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you back on the foreign scene. Pope Francis has urged Europe to tear down the walls being built to keep out refugees and to create a radical new social economy serving the many, not few. The pontiff disclosed this while making a speech at the Vatican following the presentation with the EU's Charlemagne Prize for his contribution to European unification. He invoked the memory of the European Union's founding fathers' pursuit of integration in the aftermath of World War II, urging them to borrow a leaf from them. Aside the migrant crisis, Pope Francis urged Europe to fundamentally change its economic model. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has rejected easing anti-terror law in exchange for visa-free travel for Turkish citizens in the European Union. The statement released today, just a day after the resignation of its Prime Minister Ahmed Davutoglu. Erdogan told EU states to go their way, adding that they will also go their way. Davutoglu, who negotiated a deal with EU states, is believed to have stepped down after a rift with the Turkish president. European leaders wanted Turkey to reverse recent anti-terror measures in exchange for allowing Turks to visit the EU without visa for stays of up to 90 days. The laws were brought in after a number of attacks carried out by the Islamic State of Iraq, the Levant IC group, and Kurdish separatists. Still on the foreign scene, North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un has praised the magnificent strides made in the country's nuclear weapons program. Kim disclosed this in a speech marking the opening of the first Party Congress in nearly 40 years. Hailing the historic test of what North Korea claims was a hydrogen bomb in January, the state leader said it has shown the world that it will not be cowed by sanctions or outside pressure. Kim, 33, who was not even born when the last Workers' Party Congress was held in 1980, said in a speech today that the party conclave would prove to be a new milestone that would lay out the future direction of the revolutionary march. We now move on to sports.
Our style, and that's what he delivered.
Men of the Nigeria Police Force today thwart Chris Giwa's move to take over as president of the Nigeria Football Federation. Writer of Nigeria Professional Football League side, Giwa Football Club of Jos, stormed the NFF's glass house around 4:20 p.m. with some of his cohorts. He He went around the offices speaking with some staff of the Secretariat, intimating them of his decision to actualize his mandate. Giwa was, however, checkmated by the divisional police officer of the Wuse Zone 3 police station and his men, who later whisked him away to the station before leaving the Secretariat. Giwa promised to take over as the new president of the NFF on Monday. To be recalled that Giwa recently got an injunction from Major's High Court for the removal of current President Amaju Pinnick, citing that the election that brought him and the board into power was faulty. The Pinnick-led board has also appealed against the court decision, while World Soccer governing body, the Federation of International Football Association, FIFA, has also issued a stern warning that any attempt to remove Pinnick from office through the law courts in Nigeria will lead to a ban of the country from international competitions. The intrigues-laden Anambra State FA election on Tuesday, May 3, 2016, that brought out Ifeanyi Ubah as the chairman of the State Football Association have degenerated into accusations and counter-accusations between the EC Chukwuemeka-led Normalization Committee and opposition candidate Olisa Aniono. Aniono says that he was not aware of the FA election because the date given by the Normalization Committee for the election was Wednesday, May 4, and not otherwise. Aniono claims that he went to the screening, passed the screening, but lo and behold, he received a call about 9 o'clock that the election was going on Tuesday, May 3, 2016. Further states that there was no election in Anambra State into the FA and hopes that very soon proper election will be conducted. Finally, Aniono opines that the purported election pretends total destruction of Anambra football. And that's it on CoreTV Primetime News. But before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I am Nenna Oragwa. To have a beautiful night rest.